I'm very particular about the finishing of a garment. No matter how beautiful the garment looks like on the outside, if the inside is crap, please count me out. Let me show you how to finish your vents using your lining in a very professional way. So first thing first, you want to cut your lining fabric and the main fabric and infuse hairstay interfacing on it. And if you cannot afford that, make sure you put hairstay interfacing on the part of the fabric that will have the vent. Next thing you want to do is to come down by about 10 inches for your zipper, and from that point you continue your seam allowance for zipper line before till the vent line, but make sure you stop about half inch before the vent line. Meanwhile, the vent extension is about 3 inches. This is with the zipper allowance, okay? So on the main fabric, however, you're going to stitch all the way down, but stop about half inch before the end of the vent. That is, on the extension, you stop about half inch. Now, this is the main fabric, and this is what I mean. Next thing you want to do is to bring out your lining fabric. By now, you should have stitched down to about half inch before the vent extension. You want to determine which part of the lining will be the overlay and the underlay. For me, I have chosen this part facing me to be the overlay. So what I'm going to do is to transfer this fold that I have here to the markings, like transferring markings to the main fabric. Now, if you're working with a fabric that you don't have to infuse hairstay interfacing all over the fabric, please make sure this part should have the hairstay interfacing so you can be able to see the markings correctly. Okay, so what I just did is to transfer the fold that I have before onto this fabric, and you can see it's color white, and I can actually see what I did. After transferring the markings, the next thing you want to do is to transfer your allowance. You can do half of an inch, but I prefer to be on the safe side, so most times I add 0.75 of an inch, or I add 1 inch. After connecting those points together, this new point I connected with a diagonal line is going to be like a notch line. So the next thing you want to do is to go ahead and cut out the other part, because you won't be needing this part. Now, this is why I said you have to be very careful. So the first thing you want to do is to transfer the lines. Next, you add your seam allowance and so on. This part, we don't need it. I'm going to be discarding that. Now, this is exactly what you should have. Next thing, I'm going to make a very tiny notch on that part. And yeah, when I turn it to the right side, this is what you're going to have. Don't worry, it's coming together. Now, on the main fabric, remember you stitch all the way, but stopped about half of an inch before the end of the vent. Don't worry, I'm going to be showing you what to do. Now, you're going to place the lining fabric on top of the main fabric, wrong side facing wrong side, and then you pick up one part of the vent line and then stitch it together just like so. This is what I just did. Make sure you pin down. You're going to flip it over, and also on this part, which is the part you cut out, you're going to leave about 2/8 before you put the lining, and then you go ahead and stitch down by about half of an inch, making sure you stop about half inch before the end of the line. When you do that, this is exactly what you should have after giving it a very good press. You can see this is looking so beautiful. Now you should have this kind of opening on yours. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to finish that. You want to flip it over this way, pick the linings, that is the 2 lining fabric and the 2 main fabric, and stitch down by about 1/8 or 2/8. You can also decide to hand tack. Now let's move to the lower part, which is where the real work is. Pick up the ends of both the lining and the main fabric. Meanwhile, I think you should leave about 2 inches. Make sure your lining is just shorter than your main fabric, because of course you want to have a fold by the time you are done joining. Now on this other part, which is the tricky part, please pay attention. You want to pick up your fabric, that is the main fabric, and press on it this way, and then fold in such a way that you have a diagonal or a slanted line, making sure that one point meets the edge of the fabric this way. I have a lot of videos on this page that shows how to do this, but I'm just going to be rushing all of this. Now pick up those 2 lines and then make sure they match up, and then run a very tiny stitch, a straight stitch rather, and then you have something like this. Meanwhile, before you cut out, make sure they are matching up just like this. Flip it over and cut out the excess, because you won't be needing it. Okay, so I have a lot of videos, like I said, on my page that already explains this. This is a very fast video. Now the next thing you want to do is to pick up the remaining excess and just join them together with half of an inch. At the end of the day, you should have this L shape or 90-degree line going on your fabric, and yeah, give it a very good press, and here you have your beautiful vent looking professionally finished, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you in my next video.